What a way to return on State of the Nation on Truth FM 96.1. It is the 30th day of May 2024, and the month ends tomorrow. Says goodbye to you on tomorrow. So good afternoon. Welcome to the platform. This is State of the Nation. It's on Truth FM. As always, it's running 4 years now consecutively, producing over 300 editions in a space of 4 years. We're glad to be partner. We're glad to have serve you, to always serve you. And then we've come again to say thank you for listening to us. Magdalene is here. How are you?
Yes, sir. It's good to be back again.
Are you calling me, sir?
Yes, sir. It's good to be back. And it's an honor to be here this afternoon, sir.
Okay. It's an honor to be here this afternoon. And I always like to add the flavor. How was your evening last?
Yes, it was. It was awesome. It was wonderful. I had a restful night, peaceful one as well. Yeah.
Okay, yes. So mine, it was, except that I was so tired, fatigued, and it was good. By the time I was nearly falling asleep, I was already in my vicinity. Yes, but I really need a driver now. I need a driver. I
Yeah.
know the other one was a disaster, but yeah, I need a driver now. I need a driver. I'm really ready now to have a driver.
Well,
I'll have to do a public service announcement. And
yes.
one of the major criteria of it is you have to live in Broville,
Okay.
around the VOA junction, somewhere
Okay.
around there.
Okay.
Yes. I have one recently, but it didn't work out the way I wanted. So we parted company,
Yeah.
and that was not good. If you are desperate for a job, you don't lie to find your way through. And I noticed that the young man was not living in Broville, and he lied. He said you were living in Broville. I
Yeah.
got so many difficulties in connecting with him.
Now you're
And the man say you are in the same age group.
so you're meant to be in your 50s,
No, I'm not young. Let me
man.
tell you, like Abel, while at
Well, I mean, you
right
say you
and Hartford at the age of 55, he stay attending
yeah.
youth meeting. No,
He's
no,
in
no,
the
no.
Harper is in the youth
Mm.
department. He's 55. I mean,
And you know, listen to
Labra
me.
is
He's
just a
addressing young
wonderful.
people. He's telling the young people, we as young people, we are the
Yeah,
future leader of life.
I'm
55, you future
55.
leader.
You future leader.
At
Anyway,
55, you are future leader.
no, imagine
Yeah,
leaders, right? I mean, young leaders.
no, he said we are the future leader
I
of
mean,
life.
yeah, that could be even
No,
too
no,
nice.
no. Future
You're
leader.
making it look nice. He was that's not what he said. He didn't say future leaders, right?
What is
You
it?
could be a potential future leader. He said emerging youth leaders.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah,
At
I got
55.
you on record.
At 55.
Yeah, my phone that rest right now.
Seven benefit of listening. You can when you listen to those seven benefits, you can understand what happening.
Wait, 7 benefits of listening. Everybody say no job will accept 2,000. So I don't know how much you're
Why you
paying
got
your job.
2000? You say you were. Why you got 2000? You overlooked me, eh? Eh? You
No, but I
overlooked
mean
the
he's
way you think you people come in the yard. The only benefit them will cook all of you eat the food and no pay. You go home. It is not looking.
well,
Yeah, if you tell me it was delayed a little bit, it would delay because yes, I know the kind of way I can raise money. But to Underpay somebody? No,
Have
I
I making
don't.
your call?
I don't pay. I don't underpay anyone.
No, but on a serious note, drivers
I
should
posted the money
be okay.
on my page,
Okay.
and I quoted Joseph Yuma Boaka. I said, "Your chef or your cook,
Yeah.
your driver,
Mm-hmm.
and your security, they are personal decision.
Okay.
It doesn't. This decision does not lie with any other person. Don't let any person take that decision on your behalf."
Okay. But I mean, the last one you did was you did the recruitment, right?
Yeah, I did it.
Okay. So I mean, anyway, experience is the best teacher. So drivers
I
remain
did it.
one of the most disciplined, people in the world. I don't know what the other. But anyway, we will keep it as that because we still. I mean, whenever you are leaving, you work somewhere. Don't break. You break it, you turn around, you put everything on fire. When you want to come back, how will you come back? So there are some things you are not learning in school. Yeah, huh.
Mm-hmm.
There are some things you can learn in school, but
Mm-hmm.
Echo Bay remains our prime sponsor,
Yeah.
and Orange Liberia remains our biggest GSM company. And if you are just coming to the country, we'd like to say welcome. And please get your Orange SIM card. Yeah, you can also get us on Facebook, Orange Liberia, and then you can access all of the information.
I got my
Mhm.
I got my sorry. I got my checking account activated today with EcoBank, and I'm nearing qualifying for a credit card carrier of EcoBank.
Yes,
Credit card
and that's
carrier.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to do away with this holding too much money in my pocket, and yeah, I don't like it.
Rest your body. Rest your body.
Oh, why you put the
All
fear
right.
in
Rest
front
your
of me?
body. Okay. Orange says hot minutes delight. For $1, you get 60 minutes. You get 500 megabytes. Valid for 2 days. All you have to do is to dial *11#. Happy anniversary. So hot minutes delight. $1 for 60 minutes, 500 megabytes. It valid for 2 days. All you have to do is to dial 111#. Happy anniversary. So that's
Who's
it for
anniversary? EcoBank?
no orange.
Okay.
Yeah, Orange Liberia. And Cheddar Construction Company remains one of the youngest but very best construction company right now. So those of you who want to construct your biodigester septic tank, you can just call, check up on Facebook. You'll see all of the services that we provide, and is very affordable and guaranteed. Yeah, so I'm in it to tell you why in anything you know that is 100%. So
So,
yeah.
at a Gibson Cully of EcoBank, we had a wonderful discussion this afternoon. Thank you this morning. Thank you so much. But this is what you are offering the people. This is what you are offering the people. EcoBank, then Orange. Hello? I on the radio. I'll call you back, man. I'll take you.
Family, play family times.
Wait.
Family,
Family.
family times.
POS around the country and enjoy affordable data packs that start from $9 for 10 gigabytes valid 30 days to $59 for 125 gigabytes valid 30 days. There's a pack for everyone. Enjoy using the fastest speed internet. Brings you closer to what matters. Star 888 hash or subscribe via My Orange app. $1 gives you 50 minutes on net calls and 5 minutes off net calls, or the same dollar gives you 500 megabytes of data. Valid 24 hours. Enjoy using the best mobile network certified by Ookla second time in a row. Visit our website www.orange.com.lr or call 111 for more information. Brings you closer to what matters. Orange.
Chi, you ready? You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Just a moment.
Get your home internet router from any Orange store or POS at home and enjoy affordable data packs that start from $9 for 10 gigabytes valid 30 days to $59 for 125 gigabytes valid 30 days. There's a pack for everyone. Enjoy using the fastest speed internet. Brings you closer to what matters.
Okay, welcome back after our commercial commitment to our partners, our sponsors. This is State of the Nation. The lineup today, we will talk a little bit about the internet disruption we expect as of tonight, 12 midnight, to run into 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Those of us who live on the internet solely, we will have to experience a breakout or an outage as a result of repair works on the fiber cable running under the Atlantic Ocean between Abidjan and Dakar, which Liberia falls in between as the repair work commences tonight, 12 midnight. We'll talk a little bit. We got a press release here from the Liberia Cable Consortium and from the Liberia Telecommunication Authority. Commissioner Patrick Hunter, you got to be listening to this one. Maybe you need to add additional minute to what we expect internet users. We will also talk to Bapulu County Superintendent Sam Zina. Sam inherited a huge problem in that county. It's about illicit mining. I don't know how he's going to get out of it. Well, he's shying away, but I'll place a call out to him. We will also talk to Rashford Gardiner, who is already on the line from Maryland, Harper, Maryland County. Rashford, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Chris, and good afternoon, Magdalene, as well as to all the beautiful listeners of the nation, national and international.
Okay, so how's Harper today? Here in Morovia, it is sunny, and Harper looks like what?
It's bright and sunny, nice, warm weather, lots of humidity, but business as usual. We're seeing more activities as we have cars rolling down here and all of that.
Okay, let's get into that. I'm told there has been a drastic decrease in transport fare between commuting on the highways rehabilitated. I've always told you to have credit. Yes.
If you try, I
You
will
know,
talk. I
sometimes,
will talk. What
sometimes you
happened?
don't listen to me. You don't want to listen to me
Wow.
sometimes. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So let me send you credit so you can, since I don't have Basho's number.
That's funny.
Hmm?
Yeah, man. That's funny.
This thing distract people. Man. Try to load your phone, recharge. And you say you Orange ambassador. Eh?
Or stop it.
So
I will talk.
that's how Orange can treat it. I mean, her
I would.
ambassador.
I would talk you yesterday. Oh.
What?
I would talk.
I'm your boss, please.
Okay.
Please dial the number. I've sent you credit already.
Yeah.
I sent you the
Okay. Let me. Which credit you send? Please. I don't know what actually happened just now.
You don't
Yeah.
know?
Let me try his other number and see. Yeah, get him. Okay.
You got him?
Yeah, we got him back, Chief. Yeah.
What the problem came from you or from us? Anyway, this is why he caught us today. We got away with it yesterday, but this one is
Oh
you
my
expose
God.
us. But right, we're talking about reduction in transport fare
Uh-huh.
on the route where rehabilitation works are taking place. Maryland, the Southeast is accessible now. Tell us more about it.
With Maryland County, remember, we reported on this time in during the rainy season from Park to uh, 18,000 like it's not a surprise to know that you could uh, Johnson and
Hmm.
you would get on one of those buses for 6,000
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
for maybe more luxurious vehicles, you will pay something like $1,000. So put a strange phenomenon to people just for a trip to uh, from
Hmm.
on Tuesday when we came from Sweden. So
Hmm.
which was would uh, with gasoline
Hmm.
Hmm.
uh, was talking to the uh, this is which costed $2,000 by motorcycle that is from Sweden City to Duo, somewhere along the Tiamat belt moving towards the
Hmm.
Chapo National Park.
Hmm.
Like, is it true that the road is well, what drive along that road waiting
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
people
Hmm.
driving
Okay.
on that road?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you see, the good news keep coming in. It is good to hear. What's about the arrest? You were talking about an arrest of some individuals still claiming Harper.
The new Lord Baltimore Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
who took seat 2 weeks ago, who
Mm-hmm.
chosen to use those as
Mm-hmm.
you know, open police arrest charge of beach uh, and
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Paying fines for open defecation.
You just. Mhm.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay.
Oh, we love. Oh my gosh.
What is this?
What's going
Come
on?
on, put the number here. Put the number. I see. I see why this guy you're looking at me uneasily. As part of this presentation, we're going to be talking to um,
Oh my
an
god.
expert in security expert, democracy expert in Africa.
Yeah,
Uh,
Rashford.
Dr.
I
Chris
mean, sorry,
Radford
your
is back.
credit keep finishing anyway. All right. So, three persons were arrested yesterday for open defecation, and
And the mayor has come under some criticism because he says he's going to enforce the 8 square mile area of Hopper. And this, I don't know how they're going to do it. Maybe this has to do with central government. But if the 8 square mile uh, area of Hopper is observed, then you're going to have all of the townships within the Hopper area.
uh-huh.
They're going to fall within the jurisdiction of the Hopper City Mayor, which of course uh, has brought some issues in time past because these commissioners, the commissioners of these townships, they have their own government, they have their own fees and wages revenues they have to generate
Hmm.
to use for themselves. So, but however, we're yet to see how that is going to pan out, especially when it comes to when it has to do with the cows, the issues of cows. Remember, we've been reporting that the last two leaderships of the city have failed to put under control the issue of cows roaming the streets, defecating along the main streets in Harper,
Hmm.
causing accidents and head-butting people around the place, especially the females when they are suckling, you know. And so we're yet to see how that is going to pan out. But the mayor uh, is I mean, he has shown himself to be a no nonsense person, and he himself is out on the field with the guys, and so we wait to see how that is because uh, going into these uh, commissioners' domain, I mean, I don't know how they're going to see that, but he says it's 8 square miles area
Hmm.
that Hopper covers, and he's going to make sure to enforce that his authority within that area. So perhaps the Ministry of Internal Affairs should come, to maybe redemarcate or something. But uh, most people have grown accustomed to seeing the Harper City limit just at Middlesex, beginning at Middlesex and ending at the bridge going into Hoffman Station in the west end of the city. So we wait to see how that is going to pan out.
Okay.
Wow.
Thank you, Rajford. Maybe the next time we need to call you. You speak to us from the house that is owned by former President V.S. Totman to give us
Hmm.
a vivid analysis of how it looks like as we speak. Maybe you can do that. Some of those landmark area in the Greater Harper City. I still remember that hotel opposite the Methodist Church, where I usually stop over whenever I'm in Harper. And I hope you guys had a nice time.
Hotels now you saw at the time, good hotels, international.
Okay. Thank you, Rashford. Thank you very much. Let's take this musical break to be right back. Don't close the door. And as part of this presentation today, a guest to the National Democratic Institute of Liberia, Dr. Chris Famuyo, a democracy expert in Africa, will take questions from State of the Nation. That's coming up at 3:30. Don't close the door. What if you can't say anything about me? Just shut up.
And what you call it again?
Hmm?
What you call it?
Okay, so let's bring this one down to go to Bapolu City, Bapolu County, to talk to Sam Kamara Zina, Superintendent, Bapolu, Timber Rich Bapolu County, Mineral Rich Bapolu County. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Superintendent. Let us use this time to congratulate you. It was a hard-fought battle. Now you are in that position because the president believes in you. Congratulations to you.
Thank you, Craig.
Okay, so you made several appearances on State of the Nation, and we I don't know why you didn't invite State of the Nation when you were taking over in Bopolu.
Well, I apologize for that.
Thank you. Accepted. So, having taken over less than a month, what did you meet there? What did you see? And how you intend to leave Bapolu when your term shall have ended?
Thank you, Chris, for hosting me on your show. I'm sure you've been following some of the activities from Buffalo. We took over something that is very huge, especially in the mining sector. There are lots of companies inside there with mining activities. So we are trying to verify who are there legally and who those that don't have the legal mining licenses to be there. So that verification is going to take some time. But the mining activities there, Chris, is alarming. And I really hope one of these days some of you can take your microphone and move in there and actually see for yourself what is unfolding there. It is alarming, it's troubling. Apollo has huge deposit of mineral, but this is becoming like a curse on our country where people are just moving there, polluting the drinking waters, polluting the various farming areas with various um, um, chemicals that have the percentage, the potential to damage, human development, either now or in the future. This is very alarming.
So you are the vice juror for the president for Bapalo County. I don't know why you should be complaining. You can order police arrest or arrest of lesser manners.
Ordering police arrest, Chris, one has to be very careful because the people that are mixed, the companies that mix, there are people there with legal authority to mine, and there are others there that don't have legal authority to mine. So before you issue arrest, you have to make sure you are issuing arrest on the right people.
Okay, so let me show you one or two places where you can institute arrest. Bele Yela, just off the outskirts of Bele Yela, and then between Bele Fasama and Bele Baloma, in the tropical dense forest, there are illegal miners that I can readily take you there to institute an arrest.
Yeah, just by me saying Somali mining doesn't constitute illegality. I have to investigate, to send a team there to investigate, and closing down will have to involve food order. I don't have authority to authorize violation of the law, so I have to be careful on what kind of action to take, what kind of action to order on somebody who I see mining in the area. That's why we are very careful going about inspecting those places, inviting some of those people we see mining to submit their documents. So when we investigate and we find out that you are not there legally, then we'll follow the legal procedure to get you out and to have you maybe prosecuted.
There are media reports capturing you that you might have carried on some arrest. Is that correct?
No, we didn't arrest. We ordered.
But you stop it?
We asked them, we didn't order, we asked them to stop operation until they present their license that authorizes them to mine.
Since you're so much legal minded or you try to be very legalistic, what is the legal ground do you have to stop operation?
Chris, I'm a paralegal before coming to politics, and I think you know that. So I'm not just going to move around because I have authority and then I use that authority wrongly. I might be prosecuted if I do that. I'm not exempted from prosecution if I violate law. So I'm very careful how to go about. We're conducting investigation into those mining companies' activities. If it costs us to pay the bill of those companies, we will do that. If it costs us to go to the police to ask for investigation, we'll do that. But I understand the Ministry of Lands and Mines is also doing very big investigation on most of those mines. But the situation in Bapalo Creek, alarming. People have millions of dollars worth of gold. But I don't want to blow the alarm right now. I don't want to jump the gun. But the investigation we are conducting, once we get the full funding, it will be very troubling.
I know you got a tax on hand or at hand. You want to save Bapalo. You were out when you saw these loopholes. Now you're in. You want to close those loopholes. I don't know how you're going to start it with Bapalo is vast. Do you have the support of central government?
Look, central government has their own challenges. We know what we took over, what we inherited. So sometimes you don't have to sit and wait for support from central government. Just by appointing you to the position alone is a support because we knew what was there when we went for it. So I will not go in there now and sit down and say, oh yeah, the president has to send me a car, the president has to buy a motorbike for me before I go in there. Appointing me, I am representing the interests of the president, I'm representing the interests of the government, and I'm representing the interests of my people. So I necessarily don't have to sit down and wait for support before I move in.
Okay, but I thought that superintendents are headed to Buchanan for a workshop. Are you in attendance?
Yes, of course, I'm a superintendent. I'm part of it.
So you on your way to, you speaking to me from Buchanan or from Bapalo?
Please, I don't want to show you my location. I have to go.
Man, I know you're security man. Please, let's be serious on this one. Where are you speaking from? Nobody looking for Samson. On the highway to.
I'm on my way to Buchanan. I
So
just
which highway are you? Bopolu, Breville Highway, or Morovia, Buchanan Highway?
Monrovia Buchanan Highway.
Okay, same case, Thank you so much. Let's see how we can interface after the workshop in Bopolu City. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Sam Kezina is Superintendent Bapalo County. Good friend of mine. Oh, this guy. Yes, man. Okay, so let's do this breaking news. It's broken already, but let's add some meaning to it. The Cable Consortium of Liberia announces that the ACE submarine cable network is scheduled to perform repair work on a segment of the optical fiber cable between Dakar and Abidjan, which is segment 2.1 of the ACE submarine cable network that connects Liberia to the rest of the world. The point between Dakar and Abidjan, we fall within that area, right? Okay. There is a little bit problem on the cable on the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. There's a crack. So there's going to be an outage of internet service beginning tonight. Those of you who don't give attention to your wives when you go home, just on the phone, even up to 12 midnight into the morning hours, you will not have that leverage tonight. As of 12 midnight, everything's going to be shut down, and repair works will begin 12 midnight. And according to the press release, it will end at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. According to the release from the East CCL, that's the Cable Consortium, signed by Henry W. Benson, Chairman and CEO, the scheduled repair will be performed on the 31st of May 2024 to the 31st of May 2024. That's from 12 midnight to 10 a.m. During these repair hours, all internet traffic transiting is segment 2.1, including tariff from Morocco, Abidjan, Freetown, Conakry, and Banjul to Europe will be down. The Consortium of Liberia's business office and technical staff will be available to provide you with answers to any concerns relative to this press release you may have.
Okay.
You may have. The Liberia Telecommunications signs. So you got it. What's going to happen? This is what we call leadership, proactive leadership. The last time, it was chaotic. When everything went haywire, nobody could access the internet. The entire West Africa was cut off. So the problem has been identified, and you've been alerted that they are about to do the repair works. Who doesn't want to be connected to the rest of the world? Who doesn't want to be connected to the outside world? State of the Nation in the JFED will be in 8 minutes. We'll play host to Dr. Chris Famoyon, Senior Associate for Africa, Regional Director, SIWA. Dr. Chris Famoyon is currently Senior Associate for Africa and Regional Director for Central and West Africa at NDI, the National Democratic Institute. He has organized and advanced international election observer missions to Benin, Cameroon, Central African Republic, Cote d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Ghana, Liberia, Madagascar, Mali, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone. I've Googled this man, and he comes with vast experience in democratizing the African continent. So we are glad, honored to have him this afternoon at 3:30 on State of the Nation.
Yes. All right. So he can just wait. He's so excited to be to discuss world and world politics. I mean, including Liberia
Mhm.
and Africa. So I mean, yes. We,
Okay.
yeah.
So This is a song you selected and it's here now to be played.
Which one? Oh, good. So, oh, he's in the office. Yeah, he's there. And he's like, are we going to anything? I said, well, people send questions. I said, but we're not going to limit ourselves to the question they send. We're going to discuss Africa, go to Africa, war politics, Africa, and step outside of politics. And yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and he's a promoter of women. So I told him, he asked about the station 3 years ago. You graded us the way they should do. He said, if you ask me, I will take the station as the best. I didn't listen to it. Because the rank. I said, they asked me. I said, but we are independent. They got those stations like ECOWAS, radio station. I said,
Okay. This is Family Ties, Lucky Dube.
so because we're joking about credit bidding, they're sending me credit on my phone.
Who's sending you credit?
I know where it's coming from.
For me, I'm not out of nobody send me. You send out
No, but we got different phones here that we use. So, just one of them. I don't know what the person wants. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Magdalene?
You on the radio?
Yeah, thank you. Can I speak to people that Chris? I've been calling a month. Just getting information.
All right. We'll call you back.
Okay, thank you.
What's her name? What's her name? No, you're not on the radio. No, you're not on the radio.
Wait, they cut it off now.
Call back after the show, yeah? After the show, call back.
What is he saying?
He said he got information for you. Let me take your number.
Okay. 1974.
You ready again?
Let me give you something I was reading throughout today. I was just going through the European Union Observer Mission report on media participation in the last election in 2023. As up to Truth FM, no one beat us in giving women the platform. Your humble servant was an engineer for that.
Yeah.
Hats up to the management, Truth FM, flying high, European Union report. Beat most of the radio stations that we can even think about here. For the state radio part, no, don't go there. They're in red. Red in almost all aspects. I'm sorry to say this one. They took side.
You mean EU report?
EU report.
Oh.
I'm doing a comprehensive report, a voice report.
EU's
and the report also says,
yeah,
Truth FM greatly uses airwave for political stabilization.
Wow.
Dr. Chris Fomayor, Senior Associate for Africa Regional Director, is up next on State of the Nation. Mm-hmm.
If Jordan. Sure. Yep. Yeah. First Steven. Okay.
Yeah.
So after him, right?
God bless the women. Lucky to be. This sorry, Brian, not play. How you save it? How you saw it when it's something?
Security. Evet. Şu kutunun security.
Hmm?
Yeah.
No. Extracted it. And the whole one you brought. I showed it to you.
He said it's too loud, so I don't know why we reduce it from there. He said it's too loud.
Yeah, but so Jack will put it on me. So we can, at least we've heard from our television crew, and we can go strictly into these discussions with Dr. Famio, who is already in studio, a revered African fighter for democracy. We're honored to have him on State of the Nation. This platform is cut across, and we said we are honored to have this African eminent person with us in studio. So I've got some soundbite to play. The last time our guest was at the Africa Strategic Conference, and let me see whether I got the correct one. Oh, this is it?
Stop talking about Africa and poverty as if there's numbers. Africa is indeed a rich continent. The reason why partners, especially in the commercial sector, are scrambling over resources in Africa today is because we have resources and we're not a poor continent. The problem we have is with the management of our resources. And that's why when I go through the list of elements, new tools, new challenges that we have to deal with, I'd rather talk about precious resources than the lack of resources.
Okay, precious resources, then the lack of resources. This is State of the Nation, and we go strictly into this interview with our studio guests. Let's see. My goodness. Okay,
Yeah.
it's much better now. So let me read out his name once again. Dr. Chris Ofamayo, Senior Associate for Africa Regional Director. Uh, Dr. Chris is currently Senior Associate for Africa and Regional Director for Central and West Africa at the National Democratic Institute. He has organized and advised international election observation mission in Benin, Cameroon, Central African Republic, Cote d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Ghana, Liberia, Madagascar, Mali, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone. He has also designed and supervised country-specific democracy support programs with civic organizations, political parties, and legislative bodies in Benin, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cote d'Ivoire, the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Gambia, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, Liberia, Mali, Madagascar. So the list goes on and on. So this just tells you that this is not the first time this man is engaging with us in Liberia. So, Doug, good afternoon to you. Welcome to State of the Nation.
Good afternoon, Chris, and thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here and to see you and Magdalene and to have the opportunity to appreciate your hard work and the contribution that Truth FM is making to issues of freedom of expression and the opportunity that you provide, the platform that you provide to the Liberian people and other friends of Liberia to express themselves freely.
Okay, so before we get into the discussion, let me ask you about how's your family? I was just reading on you, Marianne, your wife, your children, Christian, Franklin, and how are they coming on?
Well, the family is doing very well. We're based in Annandale, Virginia, in the US, and my wife is doing well. The kids are doing well as well. My daughter, Christina, is currently in Spain. She graduated from Penn State University and is doing some international work in Spain for this year. So everything is
like father, like daughter. So it's all over across the continent, across the world. So this is the soundbite I extracted, and this will set the basis for our discussion. Sellee has to do with democratizing Africa, something that is so close to your heart. This is it.
Some of the highlights, the high points of political developments on the African continent in the last 2 decades, just to situate the context that is today lending itself to security sector reform. Of course, many of you are very familiar with the political developments, the end of the Cold War and the beginning of the third wave of democratization, the end of apartheid in South Africa, the independence of Namibia, which was very significant, the end of military rule and the democratic transition in Nigeria. You're also familiar with the fact that in 2000, the OAU, the Continental Organization, had the declaration in Algiers, which put an end to military coups or said that the continental body would no longer recognize governments that came to power through military coups. We're also familiar with the fact that in the mid-2000s, countries such as the DRC and Liberia and Sierra Leone that have been embroiled in armed conflict had credible and successful
competitive elections. You're familiar with the fact that there's a juxtaposition in the sense that alongside all of these political developments, these positive developments, we also have incidents such as Al-Shabaab, intensifying its attacks in Somalia and later on in the neighboring countries of Ethiopia, Djibouti, Kenya, and even Uganda. We're also familiar with the events of 2011, the Arab Spring, which brought an end to military rule and military regimes in Tunisia, Egypt, and Libya.
You were speaking there at the Africa Strategic Studies there. I don't know when, but you spoke like democracy is all that you live on and want to see the entire Africa, maybe the entire world, to flourish in democracy, meaning the people should have their will to choose who to rule them.
Yes, indeed. Sometimes we forget that democracy may just be one word and it may be a big word, but we need to break it down so that the ordinary citizen, the ordinary librarian, the ordinary African in the street, in the village, in the county can understand what democracy means to him or her and how it impacts their lives. It's the freedom of movement to be able to go and come as you see fit, the freedom of expression to be able to have your opinion and to make it known, is the freedom to create an enterprise. If you are an entrepreneur in the private sector, the ability to create your business, to run it under the rule of law, and to know that your business is well protected and that the courts and the judiciary are independent, the ability to elect who represents you, your elected officials, and to hold them accountable. These are all of the elements of democracy. And I think every time we have the opportunity to talk about those elements in detail, it makes it easier for everyone to recognize that democracy is the best form of government that can allow us to realize our potential. And that's why I'm so attached to it, because I have seen the benefits. I was born in Cameroon, I grew up on the continent, so I have seen what one party states did to people. I've seen what military regimes have done to people. And I've also had the opportunity to live in a free and democratic society and to see what it does to people of all ages and all categories.
Okay, so you've been yearning for a democracy on the continent or in the world, and you yourself now, you've become an agent of or a carrier of messages of democracy across the world. Let's be specific to Africa. Sometimes, very riskily, you have to fly from one point to the other, minute after minute. But how long have you been in this business?
Well, interestingly, the organization that I work for, the National Democratic Institute, NDI, was right in the process of today, this Thursday, celebrating my 30th anniversary with the organization.
Today. What a coincidence.
What a coincidence. I will never forget where I was on that day at Truth FM radio station, because this marks my 30th year of working on democracy with the National Democratic Institute, NDI.
Okay, 30 years in advocacy. And can you measure your time? 30 years, you think Africa is actually listening?
Well, I think it's listening because, when I started with NDI on this continent, on our continent, there were only 4 countries that had accepted for multipartyism to prevail. That was Senegal, the Gambia, Botswana, and Mauritius. The rest of the countries were either going through some turbulence and conflict, or they were one-party states, or states in which the military was in power. But today, when you look at the map of the continent, and even though there's still a lot of work to be done, even though we still have some conflicts, but the number of countries that have embraced democracy and that are really practicing democracy has increased. The number of people that now live in democratic societies has increased. And even in societies where political space is shrinking, the number of civil society organizations and political parties and women's organizations and human rights groups that are advocating for greater democracy and more political space has increased. So I look at that and I say to myself, these years have not gone in vain.
Okay, before my colleague comes in, you were speaking at that forum where the sound I just played, and you made reference to the Algeria conflict where African leaders decided not to anymore recognize a military takeover, as if that is not enough. Yes, we still see some coming, no, overthrowing, and you even spoke about terrorism. Some giving a reason for militarily taking over as a result of lack of democracy to protect the country against terrorism. Uh, s- Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger are few. What message comes to you? Is it that we need to still continue knocking the hammer head into the heads of African leaders to forget about taking over militarily and go into democracy? Look what happened to Burkina Faso. You said 5 years off from this time to return to civilian rule.
Yes, I think the African Union has done well in putting in place the architecture and the instruments that say that we will not recognize military coups. Because I believe that military coups are an antidote, they're counter to the African culture and our desire for freedom. And also that military regimes do not guarantee even peace and stability, despite what some military leaders may declare. The proof is that
Mhm,
in the countries that experience coups now in the Sahel, there have been more deaths, there's
mhm,
been more insecurity, there have been more violations of human rights, there's more uncertainty about the future, there's more deterioration in the human rights condition. There have been more killings of civilians than was the case under civilian regimes. And so that pretext, which was used by some coup leaders to get into power, doesn't prevail. What we need now for our continent is for the regional organizations, the African Union, the ECOWAS for West Africa, or SADC in Southern Africa, to implement the instruments that we already have in the books so that these regimes can be isolated, because you cannot continue to subdue African people to regimes that rule by the barrel of the gun. We are in the 21st century.
mhm.
The rest of the world is expecting us to take our seat on the global stage. And there is no reason why we should allow our countries to be governed by military people. It also instills a lot of indiscipline within the security sector, because the message you send to the young officers the young cadets who get recruited and trained to defend their country is that rather than defending and protecting your country and its citizens, you should be finding a way to scheme your way into state house. And that's most unfortunate. And that's why we have to celebrate the other countries such as Liberia and Senegal and Ghana and Nigeria, where there are efforts to make sure that even when it comes to political transitions, they can be successful and peaceful and come through the ballot process, because that's what democracy entails.
Okay, so let me bring you back to India since you are celebrating your 30th anniversary with National Democratic Institute. How has India work helped to foster democracy around the world?
Well, thank you, Madeleine, for that question, because in fact, I'm really pleased that your program, which is listened to by millions of Liberians, um, has agreed that we expand the conversation this afternoon from the state of the nation to the state of Africa and the state
Yeah,
of the
sure.
world.
Yeah, I
The
like
state of
that.
the world,
I
in
like that.
Yeah,
fact,
yeah.
indeed, because and NDI is a global organization.
Mhm.
We have offices in about 60 countries around the world, and we work with our partners to strengthen and safeguard democratic processes and norms and values. NDI's first activity in Africa was in 1985 when we organized a conference in Dakar, Senegal. And in 1985, this was just after the Cold War, the topic for discussion at that conference was about multipartyism. And you can look back and see what progress has been done. As of today, we currently have offices in 18 countries on the continent. We have partners that are from those countries, local partners that are working on important issues such as election observation, voter education, civic education. In fact, even as we speak, here in Liberia, we have civil society partners that are mobilizing to go out into the counties to do oversight of budget expenditure, how the public budget is being managed in the counties, and to inform the Liberian people about that. We have worked to support women's organizations and women leaders to encourage the more than 50% of our population that's made up of women and young girls, to encourage them to get involved in the political process so they too can also be elected into office and be spokespersons for our population. So I look at NDI's track record on the continent and I say it's been very successful thus far.
Yes. Yeah. So I can proudly say I'm a beneficiary of NDI's women's program that's supporting women in the media and politics. So yes, I feel very honored to have you here this afternoon again. So what is most challenging about working for democracy in Africa?
Well, like every good thing, there always must be challenges. And I think that some of the challenges that we face have to do with, um, you know, in some of the countries where political space is shrinking, where there are limitations on the ability of our partners to work. For example, that civil society organizations cannot do their advocacy function, or that political parties are not allowed to meet and to form. It becomes difficult for us to engage with them. It becomes difficult for us to provide the support that they need in their capacity building. That's quite a challenge. In some cases, also, we face challenges when regimes come in place and are no longer interested in democracy because of the kinds of partnerships that they develop with illiberal forces, such as countries such as Russia or China, that tell them that, oh, you can have development without democracy, which we know is not really valid. So that's also a challenge that we face and that we have to deal with, not just in the countries in which we work, but even internationally too, because these are global trends that impact the way that we do our work. The third challenge that I can share is also the challenge of funding. The fact that in many of the countries in which we work, the request for technical assistance is there. You can see the needs. You can see that people are eager to engage and to mobilize themselves. You can see that members of the legislature, for example, want to gain new skills in how to exercise oversight or how to draft legislation. With the renewal of political leadership, new people are getting into politics that may have other skills, but not necessarily the political skills to run institutions, and they may be asking for assistance. And there are times when you feel like if you just had additional resources, you could create the kinds of platform that would allow them to exchange ideas and with other experts from other countries that have gone through similar processes that can help them gain the new skills to be very effective.
Okay, so before we come back to Liberia, I'd like to bring this soundbite, Dr. Chris. This thing is there are two kinds. Political commentators believe there are three kinds of political activities now on the continent. Either you have free, fair, and transparent election, or you have military coups, or you are planning to change your own constitution to give you additional time. President Barack Obama said, "The law is the law. When your term is finished, leave." And he even dramatized it. He said, if the law could support him to run again after his second term, he would have won. But the law says he should leave. He was speaking to the president then in Burundi, who was attempting to change the constitution to give him additional time. But let's come to West Africa. This is what's happening. I don't know where does this situation stand with the National Democratic Institute.
But I have a concern. Before setting up a unit or anti-coup d'etat unit in ECOWAS, isn't it time that the African head of states or the ECOWAS head of states look into the reason why there are coup d'etats. What are the root causes of coup d'etats? Let them put their house in order first before they set up an anti-coup d'etat unit. Let them put their house in order. And I believe their house is not in order. This unit is set up to defend them and to protect them only, nobody else. What is more coup d'etat than your national constitution gives you 2-term limit, 5 years, 2 terms. After serving 10 years, you want to change the constitution for another term. Is that not a coup d'etat?
Okay, so that is an opposition leader in the Gambia outrageously expressing himself. There was an attempt to change the constitution. As an agent of democracy, you sit there in the United States at the NDR. I guess you sometimes feel jittery when you see democracy is being trampled upon by some people who come in quotation as agents of democracy.
That's correct. And sometimes it's very disappointing when you see people who, when they were in civil society or even when they were in opposition,
Exactly.
were very vocal and very demanding and doing the right thing and saying the right things. And then when they get into office, they begin to do the wrong things, or they begin to try to dismantle even the institutions that allowed them to get into office. And that's very disheartening. But I would also like to say to the opposition leader from the Gambia that two wrongs do not make a right. That yes,
What should he do now in this case?
yes, I will tell him. I will share with him some thoughts on what he could do. But you know, if we assume that in some cases democracy is on life support because of the poor performance of the leaders of the day, then what I would say is the remedy is more oxygen. It's more oxygen to that patient who is under life support. It's not less. And so if you use the bayonet or the pistol or the military tank on that patient, you kill the patient. You don't give them life, so you don't redeem their life. So we shouldn't be pushing African people to have to choose between poor performance or military coups. There are better options, and the antidote, the cure for poor performance is better performance. And the people of Senegal proved it, that yes, you could penalize a leader who wasn't living up to the expectations of the people by voting that leader out. And that there were processes in place to make sure that a president could not outlive his term, and the civilian population would mobilize the institutions that are available to make sure that that doesn't happen. And so I feel that the story coming out of Senegal will reinforce the sentiment amongst our fellow Africans that if a regime is not performing well, even if a president wants to outlive their term of office or stay their term of office, there are ways in which the population can mobilize themselves and make sure that their constitution is respected. Because you don't have to throw out the baby with the bath water, because now, as you just cited initially, there's some of the military leaders who are now giving themselves out of nowhere 5 years, and we can be sure that in 5 years they will change again and say another 5 years. And because they're holding the barrel of the gun, they're holding the bayonet on everybody's head, the population is at a loss as how to remedy that situation.
Okay, thank you.
We can come back to Liberia, right?
While you come to Liberia, she's going to ask this question, but this is the backdrop of this question.
Okay.
Back-to-back elections have been held in Liberia. You made mention of that the speech you deliver, and so the question is coming out. You can just what the question says.
So let's come to Liberia and talk about our democracy. What's your impression about the 2023 elections in Liberia?
You know, since getting here, I've had some very interesting meetings, some with many of with some of the leaders
Mhm.
And in fact, I had the privilege yesterday of being received in audience by His Excellency President Joseph Bukai, the President of the Republic. And I was really heartened to hear the President talk about how he had read the NDI report on the 2017 elections in Liberia.
Mhm.
Um, and I told the president, I promised that I will go back myself and reread the report because the president was had wished that the recommendations that had been made after the truth on the basis of the 2017 report
Mhm.
should have been implemented. And so the task that I'm giving myself and my colleagues now is to go back and reread the 2017 report, and then also read the reports that were issued by other delegations, including international and domestic organizations, around the 2023 elections. Because since NDI did not send an international delegation to the 2023 elections,
Mhm.
I'm really not in a position to comment about how those elections went.
Mhm.
But I believe that if I read the reports that was issued by the ECC, which is the Citizen Observation Coalition here in Liberia,
Mhm.
and other international delegations that were here, ECOWAS, the European Union, I will be able to get a good sense of their assessment of that process. But at the end of the day, I should also say that the Liberian people deserve a lot of praise because the election was quite competitive. It was very tight. It was very close. And many of us were just waiting to see how everyone will conduct themselves around the announcement of the outcome of the election results. And the fact that when the outcome was announced, everybody went along. The previous government accepted the outcome. The handover was peaceful, and now we have an administration in place which is very interested in reform. That is a big step for Liberia, and I think a step that we can all build upon.
Okay, so let me do a follow-up question with that. So
Thanks, Magdalene.
8 years ago on Straight Talk Africa, you talk about citizens' involvement in tracking elections results. So they organize themselves and conduct power voters tabulation. So I want to know, is this actually safe for citizens to get in tabulating elections result?
Yes, it's very safe. And that is, in fact, one area where there's been a lot of progress across the African continent. You know, we have to send a strong message to the election management bodies, whether it's the Independent Election Commission or the National Election Commission in some countries, as they're called, that the elections that are conducted in each country are conducted for the citizens
Mhm.
of those countries. It's our elections. It's not just for show, it's not just for the international opinion. It's our elections. And the constitution of the country, the laws of the country allow citizens to participate fully in their elections. And most election laws also allow for transparency in the process. They allow for the counting to take place at the polling site and
Mhm.
for the election results to be made public. And there is nothing in the law books that forbids citizens from taking that information, which is already made public at the polling site, and tabulating that information to be sure that in the transmission of election results, no one tampers with those results, and that ultimately, at the end of the day, the final election that's announced by the Election Commission is a true reflection of what happened on election day. In Liberia, that is being done, in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Kenya,
Mhm.
um, even in Zimbabwe. Increasingly, citizens are mobilizing themselves to do that, and that puts a lot of pressure on the election commission.
Exactly. So,
So, but that
Yes,
times people are using old accounting books, old mathematics book, and I don't know where they come from with their results. And I can take it back to 2020 when we had
the midterm.
midterm elections, and people had their own results, and it almost became very chaotic.
exactly. You're right that if it's done in a non-transparent way or in a non-scientific way, it can be very chaotic and very confusing. And in that case, you can almost be certain that someone is breaching the law in some in some ways. But what has happened on the continent is that citizen organizations have actually perfected the act of conducting process and results verification. And they do this in a very transparent way, in which case they get the data, they work with the election commission, for example, to have the data on the polling sites in the country so that they can draw a scientific sample. Since they cannot monitor all the totality of the polling sites, they can draw a scientific sample based on the voter registry. And so they work with the election commission to get that information. They also, when they set up, even before they do their work, they also bring the public to see their setup and to explain their methodology in advance to the election commission, to the political parties and contestants, so everyone knows how that is going to be done. And then when they start collecting their data, they also open up their centers so that people can come in and be informed on how that data is being collected and how the data is treated. And when you do it in that very transparent manner, it's very likely that that would enhance citizens' confidence in the entire electoral process, and it will also provide the election commission with an additional buffer so that if some political actors are trying to pressure the commission to do the wrong thing, they can say, oh, no, we cannot do that because citizens already know the results. They're tracking these results, and if we do the wrong thing, they will call us on it, and that could be problematic for the whole country.
Okay, so that was new in last election. Unfortunately, NDR was not observing. It was new in last election. The Unity Party went ahead and scientifically collecting all the data, and then ahead of the election commission. But there's no difference between what the UP was releasing and what the NEC released later on, and everyone got to know the results as a matter of fact. So, as part of this presentation, you're going to briefly interact with the public. They're going to call in, ask few questions. You will take note, and then you then give in the time to answer to their concern. Trust me, all these questions will be tied around the promotion of democracy in Liberia, Africa, and the world, since the NDR is a global institution. So to do that,
before we take calls, Dak has a quote on his phone, and I want him to read it, and because he's one of those who will actually support
the
women
quote?
in
Women politics.
Hey, I have to do what my sister just told me to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know, but anyway, I don't have it, but I would love to read it. Yeah, but anyway,
Yes, I am pulling it out as we speak
okay.
because it's a quote that I just put out on social media talking about women's empowerment and the fact that our countries on the continent have 51, 52% in some countries of our population that's female, and the fact that we should be creating opportunities and encouraging women's leadership. And I think in that regard, even a country like Liberia can be very proud of the fact that it was the first country on this continent to have a woman president who was twice elected. So I put out this quote on social media, and it's been trending very well. I said, quote, obviously, African women provide far better leadership than most male counterparts. Than most, not all, but than most male counterparts. If the two top leaders in today's Sudan were women, they would be negotiating their differences for the common good of the people instead of burning down their countries. So that is the end of my quote. It goes back to what I was saying to say that at the beginning, that when we talk about democracy and democratic governance, we have to look for those very concrete examples that citizens can relate to. And so when you take a country that's in conflict, like the country of Sudan, where by public data, well over 7 million people are now at risk of famine or hunger or starvation because of the conflict. People are dying. Sudan today has the highest population of internally displaced persons and refugees in countries that are themselves very fragile. And you see that this country is being torn down by two men who basically are just fighting for power.
Mm-hmm.
And they're bombing the country, they're killing civilians just for power. And my feeling is that if those two leaders were women, if they were women leaders, they would not be destroying that country the way it's being destroyed today. And so there's data out there, the statistics that show that women's leadership contributes measurably to better governance. And that's something that we should take advantage of.
Okay. Thank you.
I love my sisters across the continent.
All right. So now you can place in your call to 0777285961. 0777285961. Yes, we have a hotboard. Hello.
Good afternoon, Magdalene. Good afternoon to Chris, my GM brother, and to the guests in studio. So, I want to ask the guests.
Yeah.
Now you are promoting democracy in Africa. What do you say? Because there's a Bible that says, if you say the cat should not eat the fish also should not smell. All right. So now you got these people in power that want to change constitution. What are your messages to them to curtail them rather to put any coup d'etat? The second question is, what are your messages to the European, the Westerners that try to support coup d'etat in Africa? Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so you can place in your call to 0777253819, 0777253819, 0777285961, 0777285961 to form part of the conversation. So 1 minute to a caller, 0777285961. Okay, 1 minute, 1 minute, please, and stay away from your monitor. Hello.
Yeah, good evening, Magdalene, and good evening to my dear brother Chris. This is Tape, Emma Tape.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I call you from the dark district called District 17, Broville.
Okay.
So my own take on this issue is to question the guest. Like, this is also good for Africa and African at large, but then we just experienced the issue in Sellee, where we saw on video people were killed during the election period. So what is the position of that organization to curtail some of these things, and then what will be the punishment tomorrow? Those who incite people to go on the street, peaceful citizens, to go on the street and cause mayhem. What will be the punishment for the politicians at the end result of those things?
Okay. All right. He's taking note. Yes. Okay. So yes, I'm sorry. Let me take another caller. Hello. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you for the India guest that you have in the studio. Yeah, as a real science,
Mm-hmm.
you know, yeah, it is very important to come to see. All right, we know different governance systems. But let's speak about democracy. My brother in studio there, it's a similar question I wanted to ask. But let me just say that, you people who have this organization, they are government organization that needs to really, bring to the grassroots when it comes to democracy, why it really means
Okay.
anything hard.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Chief. Yes. Hello.
This is Magdalene, and there's still just Smith, the speaker of the Muslim Assembly Advocacy School. And I want to commend your speaker guest for a deliberation. I want to understand something. Yeah. And through democracy, through my observation, through democracy, we noticed that gay rights imposing or the Western are imposing gay rights on other African countries in Africa. What do you have to say pertaining to that? Because gay rights come to democracy and lesbianism come to democracy. What do you have to say pertaining to it?
Okay. Yes. Hello. Okay. No, I can't keep you on. I tell you, I say we get family, right? You can call and I mean you want to affect our ears. Okay. So 0777. Stay away from your monitor, please. 0777285961. 0777285961 is a number to call. All you have to do, take a few more calls, and then we'll go back to our guest for his response. Okay, hello. Okay, so I mean, keep trying. The line is seriously jamming, but yes, we got a few more minutes to at least 2, 3 more calls to take. No, you can't be beeping me. Don't. I hope you're not beeping me. Yeah. Okay, so yes.
I
Okay,
think we should exhausted the time for calling. Maybe we take
yeah,
the last one.
let me take the last one
No,
from
no,
here.
no.
Oh, okay.
It's probably
Let me take it from here. Hello?
Yes, Magdalene, how are you? How are you doing? What about you?
Yeah, yes, quickly, sir. You yes, chief.
Okay, I'm going to ask your guest, what NDA having to do with establishing the World Platform in Liberia? He said the institution is having a few controversies. I want to bring you to that.
Okay.
okay. Time
All
is
right.
past spent, so we go
Okay.
to Doctor. Come here to address those concerns quickly.
Yes, all very good questions, and I really thank the audience or the listeners for participating in the program. The two first questions, changing constitutions and Western support for coups. Changing constitution, our position at NDI is very clear. You cannot be a proponent of democracy and at the same time supporting coups and military regimes. And we've seen the devastation that military regimes have caused on this continent. We are also on the record as calling out presidents who want to change their constitutions. And it was known, for example, just to take an example, next door in Guinea Conakry, that in December of 2019, I myself led a delegation to Conakry with the former president of Benin Republic, Nesofo Soglo,
Mm-hmm.
and the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan. The three of us went to plead with the then president of Guinea Conakry, President Professor Alpha Conde, not to change the constitution of his country, to respect the constitution, and to step down in 2020. So it was a matter of public record. It was even written about it in the national press and in the international media as well. So we are on record as not supporting presidents who outlive their terms or who change the constitutions of their respective countries. The Western support, I can't really speak for Western countries and their policies, but I know that that has been a source of frustration for many young Africans who say, you know, when our regimes were performing poorly, you met some of your countries where they are friends, and you that friendship allowed them to entrench themselves in power. And I think that they need to be called out on that. You know, those partners who are supportive of poor performers should be called out on that. They can apply double standards, but I'm yet to see a Western country that really supports schools. On the contrary, what we see right now is that most of the coup leaders are cutting off relations with Western powers, and they're turning to countries like Russia that are giving them the support. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to have our facts correct. On the issue of violence, in fact, violence must be deplored. We must all know that violence is a criminal activity,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's around elections, whether it's in the home, whether it's in the streets, in the marketplace. Violence is a criminal activity, and whoever is violent needs to be prosecuted. I think that's a strong message of citizen awareness and civic education that we must inculcate into our populations. The fact that it is exhibited during elections doesn't mean that elections should be cancelled or done away with because of violence. It means that those that perpetrate violence, including during the electoral period, must be held accountable for their actions and must be prosecuted. Um, and We cannot allow them to disrupt the electoral process, because that would just be playing into their hands and giving them the victory that they do not deserve. Our namesake there, Chris, the other Chris, had a question as a reader of political science. Um, how we can make sure that democracy is well understood at the grassroots level. And I think he just reinforces the point that we made at the beginning, that it's important that people at the grassroots level understand what the benefits of democracy are. And that just reminds me of what late President John F. Kennedy said in the 60s, when he said democracy is a never ending endeavor. It's never perfect. We have to consider it as a work in progress, and we have to continue to work to safeguard and improve it, even amongst committed democratic leaders, because the next generation is going to always expect a better democracy than the current one. So it would always be a work in progress. On the last question with regards to LGBT and gay rights, I also know that that's a controversial issue in a number of countries, and that some people feel that this is being imposed on them. My sense is that human rights have to be explained to people. When you take the time to explain that no one is trying to impose their sexual preferences on anyone else, but that countries have to create an environment where every citizen, irrespective of their sexual orientation, can breathe the same air, the same oxygen that you and I breathe, can live freely, and the government is not going to intrude in what happens in the privacy of their home. That guarantees safety and security for all citizens.
Okay, well, a record finish in time.
Thank you.
Uh,
A lot of good questions.
yeah, a lot of good questions. We're taking leave of you now. It was wonderful having you on the State of the Nation. We made some drills in the word came to Africa, then to Liberia, and then we made you to interact with Liberians. These are the people who are um, the beneficiary of the democracy that we now enjoy in Liberia, back to back election, which are very, very strange in our body politics. And I must have to say that some of these successes scored, they are being supported like for your by your institution. The NDR is a familiar institution, pro-democracy institution in Liberia, and we were honored to have you on
Well,
our platform.
thank you so much for having me. And it's also a coincidence that we're having this conversation 30 years after the African National Congress, the ANC, in South Africa came into power at the collapse of apartheid. And South Africa today is also celebrating the fact that
Look at the number of coincidences.
indeed,
30
well
years
timed.
with NDR, Dr. Chris. 30 years since the collapse, the
Yes,
ANC came to power, first multi-party election.
exactly. And they're doing it again
30
this year.
years, and then on today, South Africa is having
Exactly.
election. Let me just read latest coming in.
Yes,
The African National Congress. Sorry, let me get this one out. The African National Congress latest 42.54%.
yes,
The Democratic Alliance 25.44%. The EFF 8.76%, and the new party MKP
yes.
8.38% with 27.18% completed already. And the analysis is that the ANC is losing its majority seat in parliament.
Correct.
That is democracy.
That is democracy, and it's beautiful, and it's
And listen to
uplifting.
this one. This is to this one as you take leave of us.
Thank you very much for having me, and Chris and Madeleine. Keep up the good work. I really enjoyed our conversation, and thanks to your audience and your listeners
Thank
and the
you.
beautiful people of Liberia.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Elections on November 14th, 2023. The results announced tonight do not further indicate that Ambassador Joseph Lima Bouaka is in the lead that we cannot surpass. A few moments ago, I spoke with President-elect Joseph Lima Bouaka to congratulate him on his victory. Tonight, as we acknowledge the result, let us also recognize that the true winners of
these elections are the people of Liberia through a peaceful and orderly exercise of your constitutional right to vote. You have once again demonstrated your commitment to the democratic principles that bind us together as a nation. Under my leadership, these elections were organized with a promise to the Liberian people, a promise of fairness, peace, inclusion, transparency, and credibility. I am proud to say that we have fulfilled that promise. The Liberian people have spoken, and we have heard their voice. However, the closeness of the result revealed a deep division within our country as we transition to the new administration. We must be vigilant to the dangers of division and work together to find common ground. Now more than ever, unity is paramount for the love of Mama Liberia. To the members of the National Coalition for Democratic Change, fellow partisans, citizens, reactions, all auxiliaries, first-time voters, campaign managers, and party leaders, I understand that this is not the outcome we desire, but though we did not emerge victorious, your hard work and support have been the backbone of our campaign.
That's former President George. We are conceding defeat to Joseph Yuma Boakai. But 6 years down the line, the vice president also conceded defeat to George Weah.
We are a young movement.
That's interesting, yes. So will they get us, will we wait for them?
So it's going
I'm trying to play a clip or something.
Okay.
mute the name over there.
That is back in 2017.
Yes.
Mute him, not remove him.
I availed myself 2017. Boakai concedes to Weah. 2023, Weah concedes to Boakai. This is ACON, no labor. I'm doing a photo.
What do we call us again? Everything finished. Let me call you back.
Who are those people?
They're supposed to appear with T1.
Freedom should not be a scarce commodity. But of course, freedom is not free. So in a Jeff, we take T1 and the others on the Justice Parade coming up. And will take us up to 5 o'clock. I sign off for this week. So we're not going to stop until we get that freedom. It comes from Senegal. So we have to bring this one down and go strictly into the last segment of the program, State of the Nation. Okay. Is tea ready now?
Yes, so
Gentlemen, good
we
afternoon.
do have others in the studio. Can we begin with them?
Yes, gentlemen, good afternoon. Yes, so you will call your name. Okay. So what is concern about your concern? Hmm? So what's the relationship between you and Tiwanaki? What role is he playing in it? So, what message you've coined? What you want the government to do? Everywhere across the city, they have concerned motorcyclists from one point to the other. Yes, Chief. Let me come to you from the keke and let's hear you. Like where? They didn't tell you the reason for public safety. Simple public safety. Mhm. So recommend some of those means. That is you, but the others didn't do it. You know, the Tucker Bridge is a two lane, right? One going, one coming. Didn't you see Keke riders all driving in the middle? One car on the side, another one coming, another one going. Then they drive in the middle. Mhm. Mhm. So my point here is these kind of regulations are working in other countries. If you think the guy Keke in Morovia here, go to Lagos. Go to Lagos. Keke are not found on expressway. This is the only expressway we have. So they sent you out. They have another one, a brand new road here through how do you call the place? The freeway. They're not complaining. For me, I thought the action by the government was just to stop people from living. But the government said it's for safety. What problem should we have with that? Make sure, yeah. Yeah. So they should undo the action, right? Okay. hmm hmm Okay. So let me let me let me go to the US. Your benefactor or your sponsor is online now. Let's see whether uh, we can get him through the line. As a matter of fact, ahead of the internet outage, the internet has already started giving problem. Ahead of it tonight, this going to. I don't know whether T is aware. T, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Chris. I hear you very well. Do you hear me?
Yes, you're loud and clear. We expect an internet outage tonight, 12 midnight up to 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. But already ahead of that, we already started experiencing some glitches in studio. But it's good that you came on. Uh, your guys are in studio, man. They're making some recommendations to government. They want government to undo what they did. They calling it public safety regulations.
Chris, I was in your studio just a couple weeks ago, and you kind of propagated the same message from the Liberian National Police and the government at large that the measures that they have taken is in the interest of public safety. What I want to make clear to everybody is that Liberia is a democratic society. Like I said when I spoke in Dupero the other day, I said when we choose our leaders, we don't choose kings and queens over us. No one man or no one particular person or administrator of our nation should say, hey, this is what I want. This is in your best interest, blah, blah, blah. We live in a society of law, or Chris. There's something called regulations. We got our legislators. They go out there, they make laws that's in the interest of the public. You know, you got city ordinances, everything that's on the book. You don't just, first of all, what is the source of the problem? That's the question I asked you the other day. And there are listeners right now. The question remains the same. Why do we have the type of keke or tricyclist problems that we have in Liberia right now? I asked you the question 2 weeks ago. You live in Liberia in 1989, just before the Civil War. We have this problem now. Why did we not have it in 1989? For me, this problem that we're addressing right now is just a symptom of the bigger economic issue. There is an economic problem in Liberia that you cannot deny. Young brothers and sisters are struggling for survival every day. And so for the government to come and take away that means of survival and say, oh, we're doing it in your best interest. No, you're not a king. Go and pass law. Go and pass bill. Establish city ordinance. Let something be written down. So if people who are affected by the measure that you put into place come to comment on their dissatisfaction or the reason why they feel disenfranchised or something, then all you say, oh no, I'm your king. This rule I made is good for you. That's not how a constitutional republic functions. So we are saying that the young people have a legitimate concern. I believe, Claudia, that you guys met with the representative of the Ministry of Justice either yesterday or the day before. We will continue this particular, my point, my involvement, the involvement of the Foundation for Human Rights Defense in this entire process, Chris, has to do with helping these young people avoid getting involved with measures that will lead to chaos. So many times in Liberia, people have tried to establish or to bring to the attention of the leaders of our nation what is affecting them. And then it has resulted in brutality or tear gas and things like that. So our purpose here is to avoid that, to have a civil discussion about what is affecting these young people. Even if you feel like they have no legitimate concern, sit down and listen to them. Don't just go and call one or two guys among them, put some change in their pocket, and say, oh, that's the leader right there. It is over with. No, these people wrote us a letter. They itemized their concern. What is affecting them? If you have one major highway, like Claudia said the other day, if he's going to the University of Liberia, maybe for school purpose, and he got 2 or 3 friends with him that he want to get ride to so they can go. When you take away from them the opportunity to be able to go that route, what's the next route to get to the University of Liberia? Must they leave red light and go all the way around town and come back up? No. They have concern also about police brutality. You, Chris and Magdalene over there in the studio, you will never tell me that you have not seen police people on motorbike going around and whipping people. That's brutality. Our concern here for the International Foundation for Human Rights Defense that Liberia is not yet a police state. Don't use brutality against young people as a means of trying to impose your will on them. So that is the reason why we told them the other day that our involvement will be a 3-step process. We call a press conference in Dupero. We listened to them. We spoke about why we feel like the process is affecting their rights. The next step is an ongoing engagement with Ministry of Justice. And then from there, after that, if a dialogue, if a solution is not reached, you know, we will seek solution in court, because that's all you can do. We will continue to urge these young people to stay away from public protests because about a week ago or so, they were getting ready to gather somewhere in Pinsville, you know, to protest and things like that when we came in. We said this is not the best solution because there will be people out there, you know, agitators, political agitators who will come and take advantage of the situation and try to make you look bad. And that's what we're trying to avoid. Young people cannot be struggling and trying to have a civil discussion with the leaders of our nation about their concerns. And you just say, oh no, we made a rule of public interest. What else is in public interest? What is in public interest also is for government to stop the corruption. You understand? Uh, what is in public interest is for government to fight corruption with all of the tools that it has. So many things are in public interest. What is also in public interest, what we have been talking about for 3 years now, the amount of money that lawmakers make, ministers and head of public corporations. It is also in public interest as per the law of Liberia, Article 6 and 7 of the Liberian Constitution. All of these things are in public interest. You want to say young people not going to town or certain part of our country is in public interest, and you want to make it a talking point. So for me, that is not okay. Somebody is trampling on somebody's right, and somebody has to speak for them. The next point I want to speak about quickly here, I know we're running out of time. I just want to throw this topic out there, Chris, so that you and Molly can prepare yourself for next week's discussion. There's something going on at the airport, the Roberts International Airport. I don't know when the last time you guys went through there. The smell of rubber in that place is not okay. It is very offensive. Liberia is the only nation where, at its international airport, you can get that kind of odor from, and nobody is doing something about it. That too is in public interest for that smell to stop. You want to talk about public interest? Talk about all aspects of public interest, not just, you know, oh, somebody will get hurt, and that's why we stop in the motorbike. It goes beyond that. That is the issue of concern for us.
So when you are engaging these young people, these motorcyclists,
Hmm.
do you also tell them that their life is important and they need to preserve it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Their life is important and they need to preserve it. And many of them show me their insurance documentation. They show me receipt for the helmet that they bought. Chris, this is just a talking point that has political expediency. Some of these young people, they have done everything that the government has asked them to do. Okay? The government just does not find it convenient for their partners that come to the country to see motorbike people all around the place. My broader question remains the same. Why does Liberia have the type of motorcycle and keke problem that it has now? Why did it not have it before 1989? Do you not understand that there's an economic problem and that the government has to focus on some type of subsidy, some type of or reduction in maybe taxes or other things that will that make the economic condition in the country better for people to be able to find means of survival through other procedures rather than just saying, hey, the rule is don't go here. Whenever we become a police state, then they can do that. Liberia is not yet a police state, and the rights of all of the citizens of the Republic of Liberia should be respected. If you establish a rule that is not in the law book, that is affecting people when they come to talk about it, you have to respect that. That's why we choose our leader, not to be kings and queens of all.
Okay, all right. So let me go back to studio. Gentlemen, you're talking about the plight of the citizens. They finding it difficult to get home after work or to work. Uh, did they come to you with a complaint? A Liberian journalist, Charles Yes, is asking you, did they come to you with complaint?
Okay, Uncle Chris.
Yeah, you laughing?
Yeah, because
Yeah, yeah,
if
go
I like
ahead.
very generally asking that question, I mean, I just have to leave it and just laugh. The complaint is everywhere. If you want to know the complaint, just take a tour in the morning on the various streets, like ERA Junction. You go in town, and in the evening hour, you do the same thing along the Broadway, from Broadway to Walla, all the way to Clarendon, Fata, you do the same. You will see the number of people that in transit, the number of people that walk, the number of people that stand along the road waiting for either car or motorbike or keke to get in. Is
That's
very,
that's
very,
that's the
very
complaint.
that's just one of the biggest complaints. But what
Wait,
we
wait,
want to
Chris,
say here is that
for media personnel
the
to be
public
asking
feel
a question.
that
Because, excuse me,
motorcyclists or keke men, we are against what they call regulation in this country, or we mean no better for Liberia, because people do the discussion, they do the discussion as per their own understanding and feelings. Because you feel comfortable, you got little thing, you can turn around and you get food for your family, or your education process is going on smoothly. Probably your parents or someone is sponsoring you. So I mean, you feel that your life is okay, so the other man who is not okay, not your problem. I mean, it matters nothing to you. But we want to inform them, inform the government that we are not against a policy, but we are against policies that stand to seek and undermine the interests of young people and Liberians in general. You cannot come up with a policy telling Keke not to wrap an area junction to Boulevard. We understand that Liberia got one way. We understand. If that is a challenge, you should be creating a detour. We got so many yellow machines in the country. We got so many construction companies in the country, road construction companies. The government would just tell them, say, you know what, from ERA Junction, this other bypass, we need a road to be great and be, done properly, at least to connect to Boulevard, so that at least the executive right cannot be used by these people. But you're not doing so. But you're keeping the yellow machines, you keeping the yellow machines, you keeping the road equipment in the country, or you're not even hire any of the companies to open some of the community roads to connect to some of the areas. But yes, indeed, you ask the man to pay his tax. We pay our tax. Uncle Chris interest it or not, the 30,000 see lawmaker and allotting for that self carrying. Now the tax we pay. Our money. The money government officials today are being paid away. Our money power, we buy
and,
gas.
and I just
You
and I
pay
just
taxes. You can't tell me go and register your keke and go and how you call it, say, attend your lesson, get your insurance, and have all the necessary issues that government have laid out. The young men get it, they tell the men, say, don't do so, don't do so. We understood that we accept keke should not wrap an ERA journal straight to town. But let there be the opportunity that keke can move an ERA journal to Boulevard and use a way of 72nd get a Japan freeway. The same thing too. You cannot tell people to use the Vatam belt to get to Vatam belt. Not Vatam belt, you get continuous trucks not going there. You get the people carry motors and are carrying a goose. At time when they carry the goose in, the trucks them, they can just park along the road because it was so congested to the extent that there's no space. So when the people get a goose, and the tankers, the trucks, they park along the road till they upload. In that process, traffic black. Right now, you go on a whole belt, there's serious traffic congestion there. For you to even leave in that traffic, it causes you a problem. Now, interestingly, vast majority of the the tricycle you see on traffic presently, they are being given to the people by Bajaj company. Bajaj gave them keke them out for work and pay. Bajaj is doing well to help young people. The government actually have responsibility to provide job. But what they do, our government officials, when a poor man or teen position today in the twinkle of an eye, his family are rich, he say he rich, his children living luxurious life. But they will not try to build a system at least to cater to the woman in the market that own a son or a daughter to attain the same lifestyle that children attaining. So by that in this country, they are being able to give work and pay back to Liberians, young men. Other banks, but they have one policy that is like a bit against. So also been saying these things. Whether you sick, someone died for you, anything that happening to you, but they don't take that into consideration. They need your money. They need your money. As soon as the time comes, the hour comes, their money should be in. And if that money not in, they take the bags from you. And right now we're experiencing these things going on. Because of the traffic congestion, our friends, all those that have been diverted to that point, at times you spend 2 3 hours in traffic. I mean to make 4 5 7 trips in a day or in the morning is so much difficult. So you understand about that taking some people bags away from them, and some people are riding for private people that are riding back for their buses. I mean they are in serious problem. So we are saying we do not want to be like helter scatter. Have the police, our taxes they pay the police people. We have the police to put up system into place, like my colleague was saying. Have a police to put a system into place where when you tell the minister to arrive on the Gibraltar Bridge straight to Johnson Street, there should be around there. They are
Okay,
going
so
by the
let
way
me
of,
let me hold you right there and go to back to T. T got some intervention. We can quickly open the line when T makes his intervention.
What what
Some people want to, yes, T.
what I want to say quickly here is that we in Liberia, we Liberian people, we gotta become brothers keepers. We gotta care about what's affecting the ordinary people. The person that just asked the question a moment ago in my mind, that was a rhetorical question intended to just make a mockery or to minimize the concern of the ordinary people. I say this to say that, for instance, what is it that is around Broad Street or somewhere downtown that makes the issue of public safety there more concerning, for which you should prevent young people that thing is not in real life? Who is it that is downtown that is more important than
Mhm.
the places that you are saying that the young people should go and ride? Don't they have traffic congestion in red light or EW junction too? They do. So for me, it is for political expediency. The guys who call themselves big boys in maneuver, they are there. During their work hours, they don't want to have to come in conflict with the type of traffic that motorbike people bring. So because of that, they make the political argument and say public safety. So therefore, public safety is not in red light. Go ride there. Public safety is now on the pipeline road, District 3. Go ride there. What kind of nonsense is that? For me, that's a propagandistical point that is intended to just portray the idea that what they are doing is not for political reason, and it's only to make an argument that is in the interest of the people. Everywhere you ride bike in Liberia, if you are actually legitimate about your concern, you should take into consideration that the people that are in red line, the places that you are saying that the bikes should go because of public safety concern, those people too are valuable. They are Liberian people. You understand? The same people in Raleigh are the same people down Broad Street. But ministers and lawmakers don't want to be going for lunch real quick. They got 30 minute, 1 hour break, and they have to go around motorbike man. So they say carry a public safety concern in real life. For us, that's very diabolical, that's unacceptable, and that's not fair. So nobody should be making mockery of these people concerned. We think that in as much as the government can take taxes from them and force them to register their bike and get the helmet and all the things that they put into place, I think that this
Okay,
has to
all right.
order the streets in Liberia.
Okay, so let me take few calls. Ibe Blackie, you been on my back to back. You got any intervention, any suggestion?
Well, I think Team Bonding has been more propagandistic than being technical. He has contradicted himself. And I think he needs to slow down. When you talk about public safety, and then you come to encourage lawlessness, and I like the way you intervene. We must learn to move this country forward. We can come to circumvent the law. When people don't want to see the law being implemented, the government is in the interest of the motorcyclists. When it said to you, don't the right one say this country then you say we pay taxes. We pay taxes so you infringe on the rights of yourself and other people. I think we need to move this country forward by observing and the law. We put our country. Nigeria got 20 million, not Nigeria, Lagos got 20 million silent on the mirror. They are not on the road. I was in Lagos just 5 years ago.
Who about Lagos you live in?
Motorcycle before you come again. We in Liberia don't want to obey law to find different excuses. And then we get our country, we get our people that we that come before. All of us must obey the rules and regulations. Yeah, too many accidents. Our brothers are getting wounded, their parents are being taken away, their bodies are being taken away, government against the regulation. Then you say we pay taxes. Well, you know that's how we do that. Let us follow the rules and regulations. T1OK, it's
Okay. All right. Okay, Bill. All right. Thanks for pushing your points. Yes, we'll take calls, few calls. 0777285961. 0777285961. Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Well, this is calling for Nima Yare.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm on the show?
Yes, you're on radio, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, my brother and student. You guys are very pushing very well for us. But I want to know what can be the telephone number so we can be the issue. We fight for this government. And this government took the power, they're not doing that power to screen all over the world. We need to, if the government wants to run with the body, not to our land, they don't move. There's one thing to our land.
Okay.
To screen up.
All right. So they will announce the numbers and then you can go for the you can go for the gathering. Okay.
Okay, I think time is up.
Yeah, let me
Chris, before we go,
Listen,
I got a quick
no.
point that I want to make here to the
Yeah,
listeners.
just hold on a little bit. Let me take Ambrose.
Absolutely.
Hello? Yes, Ambrose. Chief. That way, the police coming down with with cars, man. Oh, wow, that's awesome. Nobody want to look for your job.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. We
Can
get
I
it.
take last caller?
Yeah.
One more? Yes, sir. Hello? Yes, sir.
Thank you. For saying motorcycle advocates. I want to say thank you, police, for our hard deliberation on this topic. And also, the adversary he even planted the way he spoke when he said the law, the wish of the law is 1972 traffic law. When all of that law says certain vehicles should go certain hero and certain vehicles should not go certain hero. Even if our say when there is no transgression, there is no law. So if the government wants to the government wants to enforce everything on, let it be amended in the constitution. But if we something that is not in the law, they come out to say, oh, the law say, the law say. Now let's look at the amount they say we should pay for lesson, driving lesson. Not for when government is able law that says we should pay $45 United States for lesson.
the higher price that there is just the United States dollar, which is for heavy today. But now the government is demanding of us to pay $45 United States dollar. Then you telling us that it's lost it. We don't want to go by
Okay.
we don't want to go by city. So when the government is looking at city, what is looking at is the money, the financial suppressor that is bringing to us. So when we go into to express ourselves, so we should not come for the side. We not follow the entire system. You not come for the side to be saying things that we don't want to hear. So thanks very much for having on the show.
Okay, Chief.
Okay, so gentlemen, in studio
Oh,
2,
my God.
let's hear your closing comment before we go to T.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's hear you.
yeah, thank you very much, Uncle Chris. And what I want to say, I listened to the first caller. You said the country is country of law. When you go Nigeria, you go Ghana, you go this, you go that. Are you kidding us? This country, before they bring this measure to place, they have different route. The government will able to construct roads for the people. Say, go so. But do we have roads in Liberia? We don't have roads. There's no road connectivity in Monrovia here. Then you are demanding us. We should take every other necessary document. We have everything. And you say, don't plow, until you say it's law. This is law. I would just want to use this medium to talk to all my Keke brothers under my voice today. That we said this from the starting that we're not going to take, the other route, which is we're going to have protest. No, we are going to take the legal means.
Okay.
And thank God we have Mr. Wonoke on our side. And I believe that what we are going through, it is a concern of Mr. Wonoke and it's a concern of everybody. You see, and we are telling everyone to remain calm and let's see how the process goes. We will not relent and we will not get tired. We will go out with everything we have to make sure that this no goes soon. So, quote unquote, no goes soon. We'll get to the
All right, let's hear you next.
Yeah, so thank you. I know Ibe Blaggy, I just want to say Ibe is a disappointment to himself and disappointment to the Liberian people. Ibe is more political in everything he does. And Ibe, you have no debate when it comes to the thing you're going law. We can sit and debate the issue with you. You're just speaking partisan. And many of you are the problem today. You see Liberia going away, because you're telling Liberia to be like football game sharing. When the man is sharing for loan, for menu, he doesn't see anything good in Chelsea. Just stop doing that kind of thing in this country. If you sit where you go from one person to another person and they give you money and put in your pocket, that's all you do, and then you be propagating issues on media. You got no proof, you got nothing to say about. So I want to use this time to say thanks to all of the callers. I want to say thanks to Mr. Wanage, and I want to also say thanks to Truth FM. You cannot tell young people, you cannot tell motorcycles to go and purchase ID card that's cost for $45 US when they are not driver, the alternate driver lesson. We don't see that as a policy that meant good for the people. You cannot be telling us to go and have one motorbike, having two helmets, which also you giving us the issue of getting insurance. Insurance have no benefit for us. Giving us third-party insurance, that insurance is under no liability for motorcyclists. As to whether our bikes when get missing, the government will take responsibility of it when we are getting our bike registered. There is no explanation across these things. And so there are so many more factors that we need to speak on. We cannot to flag. And due to the time, we give it up and we want to say thanks to you people. And we look forward to the human rights for defense to Mr. Wanage, his team. And as we speak, we are the Ministry of Justice with this issue. And we are also taking it again seriously as when it comes to the issue of the UN, the Federation operation.
All right, Chief, time is fast spent. We got to go to T. Time is fast spent. Yeah, T? T, yeah?
Sometimes around May 10th or May 11th, around that time, or sometime around that week, in this month, a lot of people were stranded around EAW Junction because I heard that they were going to protest, motorbike were going to protest and whatever. So they could not find motorbike. A lot of people kept their bike home or wherever. That was just less than 5% of what will happen in Liberia or in Monrovia if the motorbike people that are being affected directly by this process and the keke riders who are being directly affected. If we were to call on them today, Chris, to have a peaceful protest, not to engage themselves with violence, just say, hey, afford to lose the money today. Don't ride. For 3 days, don't ride. And then people who are calling from the, from the luxurious homes and they are saying that the concerns of the guys are not issues, they will then realize quickly that somebody that they care about is being affected because maybe their neighbor's child cannot get to school in time, or maybe their neighbor cannot rush down the street to get lunch because there's no keke and there's no or motorbike. We say this to say that this will become one of the tools that we will use very soon. We will soon be calling on a peaceful protest that will not be associated with any form of violence, that will not be associated with any form of blockage in the street or whatsoever. There will come a time very soon in Monrovia as we plead for these young people that we will call on them very, very soon. We'll come over timeline. We just tell them all the KK riders and the motorbike riders that are affected by the process, park your bike. Just park your bike. That is a non-violent protest. Let's see how many people will come on the radio afterward and say, oh yeah, this thing is getting serious. And that is a tool that we are considering. Beyond that, we are considering engagement, active and serious engagement with the Liberian National Police concerning this issue. We are finding areas where our lawyers will be looking into where we believe their rights are being violated. We want
Okay.
this solved. So we'll be coming back on here to talk about this issue some more. I want to say thank you to Magdalene and to Chris, to the entire 2FM family for hosting us on this topic. Claudius and team, I want to say maintain the courage. We are in this fight, and by God's grace, you will win. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That's how we go home on this edition of State of the Nation. Tomorrow is Friday. Business and Economic Forum comes on tomorrow with Magdalene. See you on Monday. That's from my end. See you on Monday. God's willing. Good night.
Okay.